What would you do if hundreds of people claimed they saw a man rise into the air? Not for a second. Not as an illusion, not as a trick, but floating above the ground while fully awake. In front of priests, nobles, soldiers, and ordinary people. Would you believe them, or would you assume they were mistaken? Today, you're about to discover one of the strangest and most controversial stories in Christian history. A story so unusual that even centuries later, nobody can fully explain it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because the final eyewitness accounts may completely change the way you think about miracles. And more importantly, they may leave you asking a question that has no easy answer. Could the impossible sometimes be real? What would you do if hundreds of people claimed they saw a man rise into the air? Not for a second. Not as an illusion, not as a trick, but floating above the ground while fully awake. In front of priests, nobles, soldiers, and ordinary people. Would you believe them, or would you assume they were mistaken? Today, you're about to discover one of the strangest and most controversial stories in Christian history. A story so unusual that even centuries later, nobody can fully explain it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because the final eyewitness accounts may completely change the way you think about miracles. And more importantly, they may leave you asking a question that has no easy answer. Could the impossible sometimes be real? What would you do if hundreds of people claimed they saw a man rise into the air? Not for a second. Not as an illusion, not as a trick, but floating above the ground while fully awake. In front of priests, nobles, soldiers, and ordinary people. Would you believe them, or would you assume they were mistaken? Today, you're about to discover one of the strangest and most controversial stories in Christian history. A story so unusual that even centuries later, nobody can fully explain it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because the final eyewitness accounts may completely change the way you think about miracles. And more importantly, they may leave you asking a question that has no easy answer. Could the impossible sometimes be real? Witnesses claimed Joseph would become so overwhelmed during prayer that he appeared completely detached from the world around him. His face would change, his attention seemed fixed on something nobody else could see, and then, according to numerous reports, he would rise from the ground. Not metaphorically, literally. Imagine standing inside a church. Imagine hearing people gasp. Imagine turning around and seeing someone floating above the floor. That is exactly what many witnesses claimed happened. Again, and again, and again. One witness might be mistaken. Two witnesses might exaggerate. A rumor can spread, a story can grow. But what happens when dozens of independent observers report the same thing? What happens when priests report it? When bishops report it? When government officials report it? When visitors who had never met each other describe remarkably similar events? That is why Joseph's story became so famous. Not because of one account, because of many. The reports kept coming, and people didn't know what to do with them. One of the most famous accounts occurred during a religious celebration. Witnesses claimed Joseph became overwhelmed with joy while contemplating God. Suddenly, he cried out. And then, he rose into the air. People watched in disbelief. Some fell silent. Others began praying. Many simply stared. Imagine being there. Would you run closer? Would you look away? Would you believe your own eyes? The crowd reportedly watched as Joseph remained suspended before gently returning to the ground. For those present, it was unforgettable. For many, it became the moment that changed everything. News travels fast when something extraordinary happens, especially when people cannot explain it. Soon, stories about Joseph spread throughout Italy and beyond. Pilgrims came hoping to see him. Curious observers traveled long distances. Some came expecting to witness a miracle, others came hoping to expose a fraud. Yet many left more confused than when they arrived, because no clear explanation ever emerged. The mystery only deepened. If you're enjoying stories of faith, mystery, miracles, and extraordinary lives, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Every week we explore incredible stories that continue to inspire, challenge, and fascinate millions of people around the world. And now, let's continue, because the strangest part of Joseph's story may still be ahead. Church leaders could not simply ignore what was happening. Claims this extraordinary demanded investigation. Witnesses were questioned. Reports were collected. Events were examined. People wanted answers. Yet, despite scrutiny, the stories continued. Again and again, witnesses described Joseph lifting from the ground during moments of profound prayer. Some accounts claimed he floated only briefly. Others described longer events. The details varied. But one thing remained consistent. People believed they had witnessed something impossible. Most people imagined miracles would bring admiration. But for Joseph, they also brought problems. A great deal of problems. The attention became overwhelming. Crowds followed him. People constantly wanted to see him. Many treated him like a spectacle. Instead of enjoying fame, Joseph often tried to avoid it. He preferred silence, prayer, humility. He did not seek attention, yet attention found him. And the more he tried to escape it, the more famous he became. What made people believe? This question remains important today. Why did so many intelligent people accept these reports? The answer wasn't simply the alleged levitations. It was Joseph himself. Witnesses consistently described him as humble, kind, simple, deeply devoted. He never appeared interested in personal gain. He never built a fortune from these events. He never tried to become powerful. For many observers, that mattered, because if someone seeks nothing for themselves, their testimony feels different. Beyond the mystery lies something deeply human. Joseph spent much of his life feeling inadequate. He knew what it meant to be misunderstood. He knew what it felt like to be judged. Perhaps that's why so many people connect with his story even today. Not because they expect to see someone fly, but because they understand struggle. They understand insecurity. They understand being overlooked. And they find hope in the fact that God often chooses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. Centuries have passed. Science has advanced. Technology has transformed the world. Yet one question remains. What really happened? Were all the witnesses mistaken? Did something natural occur that nobody understood? Or was there truly something beyond ordinary explanation? People continue debating that question today. And perhaps they always will. Because some stories refuse to fit neatly into our categories. Some mysteries remain mysteries. Whether you view Joseph's story as miracle, mystery, or inspiration, there is something powerful we can learn from it. Never underestimate a person because of their weaknesses. Never assume someone's future is limited by their past. Never believe that being ordinary means you cannot make an extraordinary impact. The boy who struggled, the young man who was underestimated, the person many thought would never amount to much, became one of the most talked about saints in history, and that alone is remarkable. So, did Saint Joseph of Cupertino truly fly? The answer depends on what you believe. But one thing is certain, his story has fascinated people for more than 400 years. And even today, it continues to spark wonder, curiosity, debate, and faith. Perhaps that's why it endures. Not because it gives us all the answers, but because it forces us to ask bigger questions. Questions about reality, questions about belief, questions about what may be possible. And maybe those questions are part of the miracle. Now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Do you believe the witnesses truly saw something impossible? Or do you think there might be another explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every comment, and I'd love to know where you stand on this extraordinary mystery. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more incredible stories of faith, miracles, and mystery.